The title of the book is called The 16th Second. Many of you know of the artist named Andy Warhol. Many years ago, Andy Warhol said, in the future, everybody will be world famous for 15 minutes. Well, I took that to mean you don't even get 15 minutes anymore with this social media, TikTok and Vine and all of this. You get about 15 seconds. That's about all you get. But what happens in the 16th second? What happens when your 15 seconds of fame are done and you don't even know they'd already passed? What happens then? And that's what the premise of the book is. I decided, since this is a family show, I'm going to read something from the first chapter. It is called The Cartwheel. My life on the stage began as early as first grade. I was always one of the featured performers in school plays. My first grade teacher recognized my talent as a singer, dancer, performer, long before I did. And apparently I had a very large repertoire. In reviewing pictures from the past, I was an American Indian warrior. I played George Washington, a Japanese geisha, and an American Indian squaw. But my earliest recollection of first grade, other than constantly being told to shush, was the annual spelling bee. There was a category for each grade, and the winner would win ice cream and candy for the class. Imagine me, as spastic as I already was, hyped up on 1,000,000 calories of sugar. I really wanted to win, but not for the treats. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to prove to the entire class that my best version of me was better than anybody else's better version of themselves. I don't know why I felt the need to be so important, but I did, and I remember at the time, this was the most important thing to me in the world. I just had to win. The first round had 16 contestants. We were separated into two groups, the boys and the girls. I made it to the first 3 rounds rather easily. Then we were down to the final 2 boys, me and my great friend Troy Box. I felt badly for Troy when he got the word wrong. His word was clue. C-L-E-W. I was so excited because I knew how to spell the word clue because it was just like the word blue. C-L-U-E. I remembered. That's how I remembered the word. I had beaten out the rest of the boys in the spelling bee. Now I was up against the winner from the girls' team, Terry Faubacher. We went back and forth spelling word after word, and neither of us ever missed, until I was given a word that I had never heard, much less spelled. The word was butch. I did the best I could. B-U-C-C-H, B-U-C-H, butch. Through my peripheral vision, I could see that Terry's eyes had immediately lit up. She knew the word and spelled it without cause. Butch, B-U-T-C-H, butch. Then looking directly at me as if to spite me in a taunting voice, she said, T, Ted, you forgot the T. There's a T in butch. So adding insult to injury, the first grade girl knew how to spell the word butch, a word I didn't even know what it meant. She knew how to spell it, but she didn't know what it meant either. My deflated ego headed back to my desk. I wanted to find the word butch somewhere. The dictionary read butch, B-U-T-C-H, an adjective, having the appearance or other qualities of a type traditionally seen as masculine, i.e., a butch woman in a baseball cap. You can laugh at that because it's kind of funny. I got that from the dictionary, by the way. I said, crap, now I had to look up another word, masculine. There, I found it, masculine, adjective, having qualities or appearance traditionally associated with men. Now I felt even worse. I couldn't even spell a word that meant I was a man. But the girl knew how to spell it. Now I wondered if she knew what it meant. She didn't either. I said, Terry, it means manlike, not like a girl, not like a boy. That's what butch means. Oh, and Terry? T is a man's name. Terry is a man's name. I felt better for a little while, but the sting of being second place loser still hurt. I never told my parents that I had participated in the spelling bee because I would then have had to tell them that I placed second. That just wasn't going to happen. Not that they would have been surprised. After all, I was born second. For the rest of my life, I knew that I could never be first. Second grade, yeah, that's all right. Second grade was my saving grace, or so I thought it would be. Continuously trying to be my best me, I find other outlets to release my boisterousness. I found myself singing under my breath during class, yet another disruption. By second grade, Terry and I had mended fences since the spelling bee flood. It seemed that winning the spelling bee didn't mean as much to her as it would have meant for me. And by second grade, we had both matured. Academically, I excelled in the classroom. I was a stellar student of reading, writing, and arithmetic. The only class I ever failed at was physical ed. I could do jumping jacks, and squats, and push-ups too. But the one obstacle that couldn't conquer at the time was balls. If there was a ball involved, I failed miserably, except for the dodgeball, because I was so tiny the opponents couldn't find me. As a youngster, I played Little League for a very short time. Very short time. Problem is, I sucked at it. I couldn't throw the ball, I couldn't catch the ball, and with a bat that felt as though it weighted more than I did, I most definitely couldn't hit the ball. But my Little League coach allowed me to still play a minor role in the team's lineup, just so that when I could have a chance to play. And since I could barely hold the bat, the coach would always tell me to bunt. Bunt? He never even explained to me why I had to bunt, and he didn't even show me the proper way to bunt. He'd just say, hit the ball in the ground with the front of the bat, which I always did, and I was always called out. Well, that made me so mad. Of course, out would come to mean something totally different in my later years. When it was my turn to bat, I got the same call from my coach, 2 touches on his chin, then a tug on his ear, then a shift of his cap, and often wondered how the other team never figured out those hand signals. Later, I realized the other team always knew I was going to bunt. They knew the lack of my athletic abilities. Ted's going to bunt, and he's going to be out. The play and the outcome was a foregone conclusion. Well, finally, I got tired of being out. So during this time at bat, even though I knew I was supposed to bunt, I hit that damn ball. And I got all the way to first base. I was so excited that I did a cartwheel onto first base. I distinctly remember that I had to gauge my run and begin my cartwheel so that I would land firmly on first base. I did it. It was perfect. I was so proud of myself for not only hitting the ball and being safe on first base, but my magnificently planned acrobatics on the baseball diamond deserved a standing ovation. And I got it. Yes, a standing ovation, but not for the reason I wanted. The umpires tried to call me out, as they had done several times in the past. But this time, they were calling me out for sliding into first base. Hell no, I didn't slide into first base. I did a damn cartwheel. Do you not know the difference? The umpires all turned away from me and tried to laugh, but they just couldn't. They just couldn't. Admittedly, I didn't know much about the rules of etiquette in baseball, but I sure as hell knew the difference between a slide and a cartwheel. Something the umpires didn't. Finally, after chatting with the coaches of both teams, the umpires relented, probably out of pity for both me and my parents. I was safe. I finally made it to first base. The entire crowd looked at my parents in disbelief, but more so in disgust from the parents of the other team. My parents remained absolutely silent. This was my first second to fame, and my last game of Little League baseball. The entire town of Scott, and possibly all of Lafayette Parish, nay, the state of Louisiana, was relieved. And I was okay with that. I had spent almost 2 years in the league and could not name one other person on the team. If Little League was supposed to be an exercise in team building, then this team particularly failed miserably. I did not make any friends on the team, and many times I felt as though the rest of them avoided me. I often felt ostracized because I wasn't good at baseball as they were. And I could see the looks on their faces and their parents' faces every time I got up to bat. If we lost the game, it was always my fault. And though I know that wasn't the case, that's exactly how I felt. So in making it to first base, I felt some sort of redemption. A validation I didn't always suck at baseball. And the cartwheel of excitement was my way of congratulating myself for a job well done. I deserved that standing ovation, regardless of its intention. It was mine, and I earned it.